If you have any health-related questions, we would love to hear from you. Call your questions and comments in at 472-1111 or text or WhatsApp 686-9999. If you're in the CNMI, please call 323-1113. Welcome everybody to Total Health.
Hi and welcome to Total Health. My name is Rosetrina, and in the studio today I'm with Elena, Taneva, nurse practitioner. And today we're gonna go to your mic's still on. Thank you. Oh. Am I on? Okay, hi and welcome back. Sorry about that. We're experiencing technical difficulties. But today we're doing 13 weeks to love, and it's week 4, the source of love.
Right. Hi, Rosie. Can you believe it? Again, it's the last week of the month, and our topic is again dedicated to emotional health.
Mm-hmm.
We just decided to venture and talk about things that usually we don't talk about it, and then we hear it on TED Talks, and we say how beautiful is that, and how revolutionary and interesting is that.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to go a step ahead and just talk about those good things that can really boost our health and our immune system. So as we are continuing our journey to love, 13 weeks to love, we know that last year we were talking about the 13 weeks to joy, because for those of us that have lost our joy and trying to find our joy back. Well, this year we're talking about love, and love, even though everybody knows what love is, even little children, even animals, they know what love is. It's just kind of hard to talk about it. And it is hard because on one side, if you have love and you're loved, you feel very happy, but you don't know how long that is going to last. And then if you don't feel love, you kind of feel left out.
Mm-hmm.
And, you don't have this good connotation about love as somebody that right now can be in their like really highest state of, positive emotion. So we would like to go a little bit further and talk about the source of love. Well, you say, what the source of love has to do with your health?
Oh, well, what's the source of love, first of
right.
all?
Well, what is the source of love? So in order to answer that question, we need to answer what is love. Okay. And even though there are so many definitions about love, I'm sure you're going to say that all of them fall short of the real definition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. It comes from an old German word, like Old English, love, which means to take care of, to care, to love, to desire.
Mm-hmm.
So love explains itself with love, because we can't really put a different word there. Maybe we can put some adjectives, but we also know that love has different, connotation. It has different meanings. So my love towards you, it's different than my love towards my food, or towards my cat,
mm-hmm.
or towards my family. A spouse love is a different type of love, and sometimes we get really confused because we like things, we love things. If we love things, it's because we like them more than just liking them. But love comes from that word, and until today, there are not many descriptions that can give a good definition. I believe, though, that the best one that describes love, it is found in Scripture, and it is found in Corinthians chapter 13. We'll have a chance to read that chapter a little bit later, and we'll just give a little bit more insight on that. Well, believe it or not, love comes from somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Saying that you believe in love, or saying you believe in God, or everybody believes in some type of love.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are all born, as we were studying the previous 2 chapters, to love and to be loved. And this is where the sadness comes in. I was like, okay, if I'm to love and be loved, then why I don't feel that all the time? Well, we will see why is that. Because God's love has a form. So it has a form. It's not like a dissipating energy or a mass that is just flowing in the air. It has a certain form, and it comes from a source. It's just like the sun. You know, we say, okay, it's warm, it's nice. And when you stay outside on the sun, it's just really, really wonderful. And it just awakens all your endorphins and you feel this happy mood just being exposed to the sun, no matter what you're going through. Even for depression, sun is extremely important. And you feel really good. But if you stay too much on the sun, what does it happen?
You get sunburned.
Yeah, you get sunburn. And I'm not saying too much love is not good. There is certain type of love that the more you get, the more you want to have it, you know. And but every time love changes, the source that it comes from, or it's used in a wrong way, it just burns you. It can warm you up, but it can burn you, or it can dissipate. If the love is not used in a right way, then it dissipates. We know many friends, they have been really helping each other, then something happens, that love dissipates, right? And your love towards your enemy, it's more unconditional. I'm not saying completely unconditional, but it's more unconditional. You can love your family, you can do anything for them, and it doesn't matter what they do, you still love them. But at some point, if there is more harm, you know, coming from that trusting relationship down the road, then it will dissipate. So love has a form, and God is using that form. So it's not like an electrical current that is just flowing in the air. It is not, God is not someone that had just created himself in a mindless energy. He guides the process of love. This is how much effort he puts in love. He cares about where his love goes to. He cares what the love does and how the love transforms others. So his love is transformational, transforms you, and the love you take from God transforms others, and then transforms others until somebody decides to keep that love for themselves. Then there is no growth, and the love stops flowing forward. So God provides the power to love to those who love within the boundaries of love. Wait a bit. There is even the boundaries of love.
So first it was there's a source of love, and I think we've established now that God is the source of love.
We can speculate. We can say other things. We can, question that. But I challenge anybody, try to find love anywhere else and see how long that love would last. All the human attempts that we have had, to find the love, the real source, we know that down the road not always stays true. We admire stories about Romeo and Juliet, but their story finished. And we see that the longer you live, you see love, you adore love, you cherish love, you share love, but there is no guarantee that that person will stay alive forever. There is no guarantee that this person will be in your life forever. So does that mean that you're born to experience life for a short time and then not?
That's so sad, but I can't really imagine a life without love from somewhere, from God or from somebody. That's a lonely life.
Right. I mean, we do have the romantic love, the eros love that, we really enjoy and we really honor. We think that that's really the best feeling you can feel while you're on this earth. But we know that initially it can be really nice and can stay nice for many years, but the couple needs to be connected to the source of love. If they don't and they start using that love, for selfish reasons, it will either burn them or dissipate. Yeah. So God has a purpose, and it's a source, that's a constant source if you plug into it. If you detach yourself from it, or you decide to live your own way out of the love God offers, you can experience it. I've experienced it. It never ends up well. And so, it is just like the second law of the thermodynamics.
Remind me again of the laws.
The Newton. The second law of the thermodynamics, or the law of the entropy that someone would say, it just states that loss of order means loss of energy. The moment there is no order, there are no boundaries, there is no form, there is no containment, it loses itself. It is like, love, it's safe when you have it in the oven. But when you take it out, you don't know what's going to happen. And that's why we really promote erotic love within a family, within the boundaries of family, because when it goes out of the family, then it either burns you or it dissipates or just cools down. The God has created love in a special way to be contained, used, for further betterment, and then transform others and others and others, not to stay in one place. But if it stays in one place, you have to be all the time plugged into God, into the love of God, so that can be transformational for you to continue using it further. Well, so when one unit loses its structure, it loses its power.
Okay. Yeah, I'm following you so far.
Right.
Yeah.
I know it sounds very very unusual, but it's very difficult to talk about love and explain it, because even love, it's very difficult to be studied. We can study the
That's so true.
experiences, but there is no research that says love has a formula. Love is like a mathematical equation. Love needs to be so and love needs to be that. It is difficult. We can only guess, but like what we know so far is that the moment it loses its structure, it loses its power. You will see many extramarital relationships. They look very good in the beginning. It looks, wow, finally I found somebody. I know it's not ideal, but I found somebody that I can really relate to, and that person can relate to me. Well, our situation is different, so we can't really get divorced, but that's the person of my soul. And so we start justifying in some way, our wrong thinking, until you follow that path and you see that it will end up in a very detrimental way. I cannot say that there was a relationship outside of the marriage that really flourished well. There's some exceptions, but that's not really the rule. And certainly, the moment we unplug from the source of love, what does it happen?
Breakdown.
Right. If God does not bless that relationship, it's very difficult to sustain itself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we know how things can happen. And interestingly, the word dissipation actually means once you are like in a sensual attraction to someone, if you are not continuing to fuel that love, it really dissipates. It goes away.
Yeah.
If you're fueling too much and you go in the wrong direction, you can both burn yourself. And so, even though we talk about health, it is very important to start with healthy relationships as well. Health does matter when it comes to our relationships. Did you believe that only 3% of the Americans are considered nowadays healthy? This is
Only 3%.
only 3%.
Oh, that's
We knew that,
wow, that's small.
America may be not one of the healthiest nations, but a study from Mayo Clinic from 2020 defined that less than 3% of the population in America is healthy. And that considers people that are mainly on plant-based diet, plant-based diet. They exercise minimum 150 minutes a week. Yes, they have sleep of 7 to 8 hours, and they manage that stress, and they have healthy relationships. Look how important it is for you to stay healthy when you do have healthy relationships. So part of your health is to maintain those relationships, and the glue of that is love.
Thank you, Elena. I hear the music, so we're going to go ahead and go over to a break. For anybody that may have a question, and if you want to call it in, on Guam, you can always call us at 671-472-1111. That's 671-472-1111. In the CNMI, that's Saipan, Tinian, or Rhoda, call us at 670-323-1113. That's 670-323-1113. You can send us a message via text, via WhatsApp, or Signal at 671-686-9999. That's 671-686-9999. It's free from the CNMI. Don't go anywhere. This is only our first break of the day. We'll be right back.
We've got the kind of station that's good for your life.
The songs give me encouragement.
It really speaks to my life.
No matter when you listen,
I love to listen riding around in my car. It keeps my stress down.
or why you listen.
So there's a little bit for everybody in the whole family.
Things that may not matter to other people do matter to you.
I think it builds good values and helps strengthen families.
It's music that you can let your kids listen to.
Hey, it's your station. Keep it strong with financial gifts each month, and we'll keep playing your kind of music for your kind of life.
It lifts me up.
Joy FM.
Si Joe Mossy, and thanks for listening to Total Health on Joy FM. We want to hear from you. Call in with your health-related questions at 472-1111. In Guam or in the Sinamai, the number to call is 323-1113. Text or WhatsApp us at 686-9999. And now, back to the show.
Hi, and welcome back to Total Health Live. My name is Rosetrina, and in the studio today, we have Elena, Taneva, nurse practitioner, and we're talking about the source of love. It's based on week 4 of 13 Weeks to Love by Jennifer Jill Schwarzer. Right before we went to break, we were actually talking about love and boundaries that come with love.
Right, and we were talking about that. We believe that the source of love comes from God, and when we don't keep the law of love, then we cannot continue benefiting from it.
Yeah.
And so love also has constraint. Love also has boundaries. Even though we feel like love is doesn't have a form. You can just love anyway. We can, but if we detach from the source of love, sooner or later we'll find ourselves in a situation that we were lacking that love.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us are prone to that because we are all naturally born with emptiness in ourselves.
Yeah.
We do have emptiness, happily, let's say married people that are constantly in love, they feel really great, but there is still a little bit of notch of emptiness in every person, doesn't matter how happy you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that emptiness, it takes a while for us to figure out how we can complete it. Many of us are searching for different things, or we search for different people thinking that they can help us feel this emptiness. But we know people are not eternal. People are actually mortal. And people don't always stay in our life. They have a free will to stay in our life and not to stay in our life. And their life is, they have a certain numbers of days, and they might not stay with us forever. So we can't base our existence, our void on somebody else. We can't do that even with something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because things
That's
can
how
come,
addictions
things
come
can
up.
go away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we need to base it on the real source. And many of us struggle because God doesn't tell us, hey, I'm here, I love you so much. He does it in a different way, but in a very indirect way, speaking to us through nature, speaking to us to small miracles that we're experiencing, speaking to us to answered prayers. But we really struggle when our prayers don't get answered or our life does not go the way we want it. And then we try to figure out how we can complete that void and what we can do about it so we can feel at least good, for certain time. And we don't always find the right way to fill in this void. But there is a Bible verse on the 2 Corinthians 5:14-15 that says, the love of Christ compels us, because we judge this, that if one died for all, then all died. And he died for all, that those who live should live no longer for themselves, but for him who died for them and rose again. So it says here that the love of Christ compels us, which means controls us, constrains us, presses, overmasters us. And the word in Greek actually means hold together. So the love of God holds us together.
Yeah.
The moment you detach yourself from the source, because the source is there.
Mm-hmm.
The source of God, the source of love is there, and it's a constant. But if you decide to detach yourself or you decide to search it somewhere else, you might not always find it.
Yeah.
And this is where the heartbreak comes, and this is where, your rebellion can start coming up, because you're just not understanding it, why you're not finding love when you're giving love.
Mm-hmm.
If you detach yourself from the source, this is what happens. Have you seen couples that they're like 80 years old and they still love each other so dearly? Isn't that beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
But they have worked on that, and they have learned how to even love themselves through difficulties, not only through good times.
Yeah.
I admire couples that for their 50th anniversary, for example, they give to each other a present, which is like a letter with all the hardships that they have gone together. Because the hardships also can make you stick together. When you
Yeah.
go through difficulties and you face it together, it makes you stronger of a unit. It increases your power. It keeps your shape and form in place. So God is holding us together. So what can we say? God is the same God that keeps our physical world from flying into the dust, can hold our relationships together. We're dust and we can go into the dust any moment. He that has created so many galaxies, so many planets, so many worlds, can still hold us and holds our relationships together. If we believe that God can take care of our relationships, we will be experiencing even more joy, even more love. To love of Christ, the love of Christ constrained us to live and to love like Him. But He does it in part by establishing principles in our hearts which direct our thoughts and actions. And love has a form, and love is engineered. It is designed, it is structured.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like something flowing in the air, causing you to have butterflies. It is well engineered, it is well designed, very well structured. Love has laws,
Mm-hmm.
and in fact, the law of God is the law of love, because God is love. If you see all the law in the Bible, everything that's written, sometimes it feels very limiting,
Mm-hmm.
but actually it's a law of love. This is why God has written it down there, because He wants us to follow this path if we want to have a happy, loving life for the rest of our lives.
That brings to mind, I was talking with one of my brothers. I think it was probably like an assignment that he had for school. But we were talking about one of the memory verses in the Bible. There's a story of when Jesus was approached by some very educated men, and they were asking him which of the 10 commandments is the most important. And his response was, love the Lord your God, and then love your fellow man as you love yourself. Is that what it was?
It is.
Right? And so on these two, the law stands. It's not a direct quote, but that was the source of our conversation, and that's what comes to mind. Even in that situation, God says that you have to love God first, and then you have to love your fellow man.
Right. There are many cultures that they have never received the Bible. They don't know about that.
Mm-hmm.
But they will be really, I can say, their life will be really observed on the fact how much they have loved.
Yeah.
How much they have loved God, how much they have loved others, how much they have done with that love. And there is a Bible verse that says, whoever has loved much, much will be forgiven. So the more you love, the more you can experience in love. The more you will be plugged into the love of God, and the more you will cherish that. I really like the quote that says, God, please do not let me die until I get to know you in fullness. And God says, my child, whoever knows me never dies. And I can replace that, God, please don't let me not loving you. Let me learn how to love you. He said, whoever loves me never dies. If you love God, if you love your neighbor with all your heart, love is immortal. Love is immortal. That will continue. And God will, one day will seek in our motives to see how much we have actually loved, how much we have given, how much we have lived for others. That's why He's our ultimate leader, because He has done that before us to show us an example.
Yeah. the Bible says that greater love has no man than this, that he laid down his life for his friend, right? And that's basically what he did.
And he did it even when we were his enemies.
Mm-hmm.
He loves us so much. This love that God has for us, it's called agape love. It's constant. It doesn't change. It's there. It's like a laser. It just goes. And so if we plug into it, we'll be enjoying it. If we detach from it, okay, it's our choice. But it's always there, and it's unconditional. I have 2 cats right now. One of them is super selfish. Like everything is for that cat. The other one is super selfless.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's such a difference in personalities.
Yes, one would like to eat all the time, will eat the food of the other one, will do whatever she wants. But her brother will be so selfless, will do anything that make her happy. And I'm looking at them and I said, which one I love more? I said, I love them both. I love the selfish one. I don't admire her always, but I love her. And nothing changes my love for both of them. And I love the good cat too. So God loves us the same way. He loves us. He understands our limitations. He understands our character. He works through our character. There is nothing you can do in this life that God may love you more. Or there is nothing you can do in this life that God will love you less. Many times we think that we need to earn love and we need to earn it, with good deeds and do something so we can get that love. The selfish cat can't do anything to deserve my love more or less. And the unselfish cat is the same way. I still love my both cats regardless of what they are. Right? I'm just giving an example, but of course we can always give it with humans and
with this example, I think it's great when you mention that there's nothing that you can do to earn love. I think that's probably a mentality that a lot of people have. If I do this for this person, they'll love me more,
We do all go through that, and then you see that's like, wow, even if I do everything, it still might not be enough for a human love.
Yeah, but God's love doesn't work that way because God loved us before we were even formed.
Correct. And he loved us even when we were his enemies.
Yeah.
So there are different types of love. I would just quickly mention them. The family love, in Greek, it comes like storge. And there are many verses in the Bible that uses that word. That word. Then the friendship love, which is phileo. Phileo, Philadelphia comes from there. Eros, which is the erotic love, and the agape love. And so the love between a child and a parent is storge. Between the child and mother, child and father, siblings, same-sex girls, same-sex boys, opposite sex, can be still storge. Friendship can be phileo, even to opposite sex friendship. Courtship, it's eros. Marriage is eros. Parent and child is storge, and the divine love is agape. That love, that is a constant and never changes. It has always been there for us. It is for us, and it is for us for the rest of our lives.
Thank you, Elena. And I hear the music, so we're going to go ahead and go to a break. If you're on Guam and you have a question and you want to call it in, go ahead and call us at 671-472-1111. That's 671-472-1111. In the CNMI, call us at 670-323-1113. That's 670-323-1113. Send us a message via text, via WhatsApp, or Signal at 671-686-9999. That's 671-686-9999. It's free from the CNMI. It's 5:31 right now. We're going to go ahead and head into a break, but don't go anywhere because we still have more Total Health Live coming back right after.
This is the season of the blockbuster, movies that promise thrills and special effects galore. But there's another story being told. You won't see the coming attraction advertised. It's your story, the chronicle God is weaving with your life, a saga that will not wind up in the bargain DVD bin someday. Your story, the people you touch, the message you give will last forever. An encouraging message from your friends at Joy FM.
Welcome back. You're listening to Total Health on Joy FM. Call in with your health-related questions to 472-1111 in Guam. If you live in the CNMI, we want to hear from you too. Call 323-1113 or text or WhatsApp us at 686-9999. And now, here's more Total Health.
Hi, and welcome back to Total Health Live. My name is Rosetrina. In the studio today, if you're just joining us, in the studio today we have Elena, Taneva, nurse practitioner, and we're talking about the source of love, and it's part 4 of 13 Weeks to Love by Jennifer Jill Schwarzer, and it happens once a month, not once a week, so once a month. Sorry. Before we went to break, we were actually talking about the different kinds of love, and the last one that you mentioned was agape, unconditional love.
Right. Agape love never dies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Eros life can die. It can dissipate, or one of the partners can die. Storge love can die because we are all limited.
Yeah.
But agape love, it's not dying because God is eternal. So it's always going to be there. It's like it's the root system of all other loves. It stimulates others, maintains others, and fuel other loves. So it has a structure, it has an energy, it can hold us together, it can empower the other loves as well. So the Bible, it's very clear about how we can love. But I do see many couples that they really fight over love. It's not rare that I will see and hear women saying, he doesn't love me enough. I want him to do this for me and doing this for me. But he will always, choose watching the TV or doing other things and not showing me love. And women particularly struggle with that because we are very much emotional creatures. We are more emotional. I'm not saying men are not, but we would like this love to be constantly shown. And it's difficult for men because they're more practical. They have to defend the family. They have to take care of other things. So there is some type of discrepancy that at times can come. And it's not one time that a man will say, well, Bible doesn't tell me how I can love. But actually, the Bible gives a lot of instructions on how men can love their wives in an intelligent way. Husbands, love your wives, the Bible says. Take care of them. And also encourages women to be loving and kind and really to support their husbands in the difficulties that they are facing on a daily basis. And yes, Bible does tell us how to love. We do not treat our parents like we treat our children, and we do not marry our siblings, And when we respect these boundaries, of course, we provide a safe haven in which relationships can thrive. And the real life lessons, actually from the Bible, are revealing us that every day having a relation of sin can bring so much sorrow and so much destruction in anybody's life. But the ceremonial law instructs actually us how to love fairly, compassionately our family members, spouses, neighbors, even the servants. This is what it says in the Bible. And many times we learn how to love by learning how not to love. That's why we were talking last time about hatred and how, we should learn how not to hate, because hatred can lead us to really self-destructive behavior. And that's why the Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, that what love is not. And it starts with what love is not. And it goes like that. It says, love does not envy. So when you love, you should not envy. Every time when I try to be competitive or be envious, I realize I'm falling out of love. So I'm saying, no, you cannot do that. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself. It doesn't show that I'm more than you. When you love, you just don't. You actually will take even a lower step if it's needed when you love, right?
Yeah.
Love is not puffed up. You're not
It's
saying,
not
oh,
proud.
I've done so much for you. I took you on a holiday. I paid this and this and this. You don't parade. You don't puff up how much you have done. So this is not what love is. Love does not behave rudely. You know, if you love, you don't behave rudely. Sometimes we say, oh, someone behaves that way because he loves you. Sometimes we can't interpret very well, you know, the relationships, but it's not supposed to be like that. Real love, genuine love, it's not supposed to behave rudely. Does not seek on its own. Does not say, oh, I have done this for you, and how many times you haven't done that for me. It does not. You know, when you love and you do everything for the person next to you, and that person does everything for you, you kind of forget to think about yourself. You think for the other person, and the other person forget to think about them, so they think for you. And of course, we know that doesn't happen always, and this is when the obstacles start coming. But if we plug ourselves back again into the agape love, and we recognize what love is not, and if we recognize a wrong behavior in us, we can stop it and we can change it. This is where our health comes into place, because if we do know what love is and what love is not, then we are not going to take wrong behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So love is not provoked. Love does not think evil. Love does not rejoice in iniquity.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't rejoice in sin or wrongdoing.
It doesn't rejoice in sin. And that's why I'm saying extramarital relationships initially might look like a solution to your situation, but down the road, it really never works.
Yeah.
There are so many novels, so many books written about it, and what it looks initially that it will be a great story, unfortunately finishes in a tragedy. But you learn those lessons, you know, in life until you learn that, wow, I do not want to do anything that God's love will not bless that love.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking with Sean and Amber last time about healthy relationships between couples. And it is very important that you maintain and you uplift and enhance that love within the family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if your family is so bad, I don't know, talk to God. Work on that. Every couple plugged back to God could work it out. You know, I don't know, maybe there are exceptions. When there is abuse and one partner does not want to change, of course, that was the whole family will struggle about it. But if you plug yourself back to God, God can give you the power and the strength to experience that deep love.
You know, in the session that they did last week when Amber and Shion were here, my impression of that was just that as long as God is at the center of your marriage, then the marriage is going to flourish.
Correct.
And then they also said something that really struck me. They said that once you're married, it's not what can you do for me, it's what can I do for you. Like, you serve each other. And I think that there are a lot of people that get into relationships thinking that, oh, maybe this relationship might fix whatever situation I'm in or whatever's going on in my heart or my mind. But really, what that's going to do is it's just going to bring in more issues.
Of course.
Yeah.
And we should not look at others, at other human beings, as those that they can fix our problems.
Mm-hmm.
We have to resolve them with God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, God is all powerful. He knows how to help us. That's why we were talking about even growth, a personal growth in God. And when two people are growing in God and they join their efforts together, then love is even more powerful.
Yeah.
And can do even more miracles. Miracles can happen even nowadays if we love each other in the way that the Bible describes it to us. So, and then it says, love never fails. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Human love
fails.
may fail. You know, you might have a great attraction to somebody. You might be really in love for a short time. Human love can fail, but God's love does not fail. And if you plug yourself into that love and you're all the time getting from the source of love, that love will never fail. And then we have some positive reiterations that says, love suffers long. Okay, you say, wait a bit. I thought, you don't have to suffer in love. Love suffers long. Love suffers long. It is kind. It rejoices in truth. It bears all things. It's difficult for us to understand because we have this, self-centered nature so much that we're like, what about me? What about me? Why do I have to suffer long? Why do I have to bear all things? It's a lesson for us, and God is building us to love as He loves. And this is how God loves. God loves unconditionally. He bears all the things. We blame Him for so many things. He still takes it. He suffers long. He's waiting for us patiently that we may go back to Him. And this is how He is calling us to love in a healthy way. Then it continues. It believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things for the sake of love.
That sounds like a love that's pretty solid to me.
Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
A very solid love. And that's why I believe that this is the best description that we can give about love. And it is good for us to, rate ourselves from time to time to see how much love I have actually for others. The moment you come across a person that you can't really stand, then question that and say, God, I have challenges with that person. I could not stand that person. Can you help me see that person with the eyes you see them? And if we can grow into that, we will believe all things, we will hope all things, we will endure all things.
Yeah.
We can grow in love. Even the 5 languages of love, it says, okay, this is your language and this is my language. It's good to define which are our primarily languages in love, but it is important to grow all of them. And the more you grow in all of them, the closer you become to the love that Christ has for you.
That's true.
We can grow in love too. Not only, in our self-growth and as persons in knowledge and skills and attitude, we can grow in love too. And I don't know about you, but I would like to live my life with a life full of love.
Yeah.
I don't want to live my life just, having something like falling short of the love that God has given me there as a constant, and I have not taken it. I want to experiencing God's love to its fullness. And it can start in growing myself into that love that God has given me. Well, you can also rate yourself with the way that you relate to others sincerely. When somebody succeeds in front of you, what do you say? Do you say, oh, good for them, but that will never happen to me? If you experience something like that, you realize, wow, I need to grow in love. I need to rejoice with other successes. I need to suffer with other losses. And we just can be more loving. We can be more loving. And God is calling us to be more loving. The more loving we will be, the healthier we will be. Because the benefit that love gives us outweighs any other medication, any exercise, or anything good that we can do to our bodies.
Thank you, Elena. That's the music. We'll go ahead and go to a quick break. It's going to be our last break of the day, so if you have a question and you want to call it in, please do so. On Guam, you can call us at 671-472-1111. That's 671-472-1111. In the CNMI, you can call us at 670-323-1113. That's 670-323-1113. You can also send us a message via text, via WhatsApp, or Signal at 671-686-9999. That's 671-686-9999. It's free from the CNMI. Don't go anywhere. We've only got a couple minutes left of today's show, and we'll be back right after the break.
Spring, the changing of the seasons, a bad case of cabin fever, an alteration of the landscape. Spring is a reminder that there are seeds to plant, ideas to share, news that makes a difference. Spring creates conditions where soil is easier to work with. The sun does the right amount of work, and water makes a regular visit to patches of new plant growth. Spring's a reminder that harvest starts well before the plump produce of autumn. The intentional part of harvest begins with a seed, in good soil, at the right time. That's spring, and it's a wonder to behold. But spring is also a great reminder that we participate in a spiritual harvest. With your help, we plant seeds, share ideas, and offer information that can make a difference in the potential growth of the new seeds. If you're not part of that impressive work, you could be. Welcome spring. The growth starts now, with friends like you. Joy FM at joyfmradio.net.
And we're back with more Total Health. Give us a call with your medical questions. Number to call in Guam is 472-1111. If you're in the CNMI, the number to call is 323-1113. Or you can text or WhatsApp us at 686-9999. Now back to the program.
Hi, and welcome back to Total Health Live. We've only got just a couple minutes left of today's show, so we're just going to jump straight into it.
You know, Rosie, I started talking about the void or the emptiness that we do have.
Mm-hmm.
And many young people I see, they really struggle with that. They try different things because they just don't find any satisfaction. They try different things, they can't find it. They find life sometimes being boring or void or having no sense. And I usually tell young people, let's find your purpose. It will be difficult to fill the void. You know, only God can fill that void because God has designed every heart to be craving for Him. And until we find Him with all our love and all our hearts and our souls, it takes a while. And so I usually say, let's find a purpose. Let's see what we can do. And when they find a purpose, they can somehow carry on until God reveals Himself in a deeper way. But the deeper your void is in your heart, the deeper your regrets are in your heart, and the deeper you feel that you have gone away, the more God can use you. God is waiting for us to give up on ourselves, to say, God, we are just, wrecks. We really cannot do anything. Everything we try to do it with our human efforts just does not work. Help us plug in back to that love that you have constantly and being with you and living with you from now on till the eternity. And God is more than willing. He's waiting for us, but He can't force it. He can't force His love on us. In that respect, God has limitations because He respects the free will. It's up to you if you want to take that love or you don't want to take that love. And it's up to you if you want to take that love, if you want to grow in that love. But many times, as I said, we learn how to love in a wrong way. And you know what? God understands that too. He's not someone saying, you made a mistake here. You shouldn't be loving in this way. You should love that way. No, God knows we're a mess. God knows that we're constantly trying to discover different ways until we completely discover Him and completely relax into His hands. And it implies that in our damage, we often learn how to do it right by learning how not to do it wrong. We learn what to do, by learning what not to do. And it means that doing it wrong actually has a function and a purpose. Even when you mess it up, even if you do something really wrong in your life, God is there. He knows you're a mess. He's not frustrated or He's not out of resources. God never has problems. God has plans. The more you mess it up, the better plan He has. Isn't that amazing? He's not saying, oh no, now you're going to suffer for the rest of your life. We're going to pay some consequences, but He can transform the worst situation into a marvelous miracle. How He does it? He specializes in that. So, in fact, He has been waiting for us to give up on ourselves for thousands of years, for so many generations. He uses our failures to love us as the raw materials out of which He builds us into even deeper love and a stronger love than before. You know, when you suffer a lot and then love is shown to you, you love even deeper. When you lose somebody that you really love, you appreciate others even deeper, even more. And, if you happen that you have lost a child in your life, which is, I believe, many authors believe, many scholars believe is like the worst pain you can experience. When you love other children or the children of other children, you love even with a stronger love. How God does it, I don't know. But He is able to intensify the love even when we lose it, even when we mess it up, even when we don't have it, even when we crave for it. We will be rewarded. The more love you seek, the more you will receive. It is a constant. It was given to us. We have all fallen short of the law of love. There is no one that really has loved perfectly. Jesus had given us this example how you can love, but none of us loves perfectly. We all have to learn how to love and how to grow. And we have failed in most of all our relationships. Even the perfect marriage, they still have problems, right? And initially, in a marriage can look like, wow, it is so nice. We are just driving a car, going through the desert, but the fuel will finish, the music will stop, the rain will start raining. This is how life is. We can have love, but life happens differently. And we have to learn how to live a life through the challenges of life. I will finish today a talk with one story, unless you want to share something. I have a story that I've never mentioned it in the radio, but I kept it for this moment, for a moment like this. So I heard it from a person that was working in a NICU with babies, and he was on call when a baby was brought by his mother and the mother's boyfriend. The baby had birthday the previous day, was 3 years old. Had birthday the previous day, and they told him not to eat from the cake. But the child, of course, is a child, so the child went and ate the cake. The mother and the boyfriend were so upset with the child that they beat him until there was no broken bone in his body.
So all the bones were broken?
All the bones were broken. It was just such a devastating view for all the ICU staff. Everybody was crying. Like, how can you have somebody, how can you do something so terrible, to your own child? It is, this is when I talk, when the love dissipates, it's just very difficult to have it, to get it back. This is where all the problems in this world happen, because we do not love. We don't plug into the source of love. And so the next day, a neurosurgeon team had to come and evaluate the child, because even the skull was broken. And when that nurse came into the room, he saw the most devastating thing he can see, a whole team of neurosurgeons crying over that baby. He realized that if neurosurgeons are crying for the baby, this baby is not going to live. And the neurosurgeons didn't have much of a prognosis for the baby. And they said, well, that child is not going to make it. And at that moment, the grandmother came. And the nurse said, wow, this baby is dying. Nobody should die without love. Nobody should die without being loved and experiencing love. The grandma comes. And he said, Grandma, hey, look, I need to tell you. She said, no, I'm not here because of that. He said, why? What's going on? She said, my daughter was arrested and she has my money in her bag and she left the bag here. So I'm coming for my check and my money. He said, no, you don't understand. The child is dying. She said, I don't care. A dust is dust and it goes to dust. Like, can you see how much you can harden your heart when you don't plug to the love? That you completely become emotionless. You don't have even conscience for it. He said, no, the child is dying. And I was hoping that the grandmother can come and just spend the last hour of his life. She said, that's it. I got my money. I'm out of here. And then this nurse went to the baby, held the baby and said, I know you're dying, but nobody should die before they feel that they are loved. And so all the team, all the nurses, they sent that child in an honorable way. by showing that child as much love as they could possibly give him. Wouldn't be the world a better place if we live that way? If we live our life in a way that we show others love as much as we can show that love while they're still alive. Wouldn't the world be a better place? If I love you and I show you all my love as much as I can, and I can show it to my selfless cat and my selfish cat and everybody else and my patients, if I love the world with all the love that God has in store for me, which is, unlimited, wouldn't the world be a better place? What better way we can live our lives than loving fully, with all our minds, all our souls, and all our hearts? I know I made you speechless. It is a painful story. It is a very painful story, but that's the reality for many of us. And even though you live in that, even this child, had to die. The child died in being so much loved. I'm not justifying it. God has better plan for the child. God can protect that child, and the good thing is that our life does not finish here. Whoever loves God and whoever knows God never dies. So we do have a better life and a better reality that's coming. But it is important while we are still here that we can implement as much love as possible. I will finish with a verse in Romans 8:35-39 that goes this way. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ?
Amen.
Shall tribulations, right? Or distress, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or peril, or sword? Yet in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other created thing shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus our Lord. Doesn't that feel very optimistic? Even if you messed it up, even if you fall short in your relationships or in your way of loving, you can still grow, and God will give you another chance and another chance and another chance to love everybody around you. And our health will go exponentially stronger, and we will be healthier by loving others.
Thank you, Elena. And also thank you to all our listeners. That was the music, and it's the end of our show. We just want to say thank you, and we'll see you again next week, Wednesday, for more Total Health Live.
Be sure to check with your doctors before making any sudden life changes discussed today. Total Health is brought to you in partnership with Guam Seventh-day Adventist Clinic, where health is their mission. We look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Thank you, and si Juas Masi for listening to Total Health right here on Joy FM.